his best friend, but we never show him. He's always talking off screen.
Yeah, he's like on the phone like Charlie and Charlie's Angels. Yeah, and he's like, all right, I gotta go, Muhammad. Yeah. That's a great idea. Folks, welcome to Werewolf Radar, the world's premier paranormal preparedness podcast. My name's Jordan Dahl.
I am Roger Norquist.
Nate Balding couldn't be here today, but we do have the AI version of Nate Balding Nate has had his engram uploaded to an AI chat GPT construct, and we asked it what it had for breakfast. And what did it say, Roger?
Hey there, folks. This morning, I kicked off the day with a hearty bowl of oatmeal topped with some fresh berries and a drizzle of honey. Washed it down with a strong cup of black coffee to get the energy flowing.
It's like he's here.
It's all about starting your day right, you know?
It talks just like him. It talks just like people.
Just like Nate.
That at the end? Exactly something he would say. Today's episode of Werewolf Radar is brought to you by, let's see. Oh, just in time for Halloween, Monstruco brings you poison bunches of razor blades. Why worry whether your candy might be poisoned or dangerous or taste like pain and blood when Monstruco can guarantee it? Poison bunches of razor blades from Monstruco. Ow, Mom.
You know what? That person needs to go to the hospital, but that really saves a lot of time for parents to where they're like, be careful. Yeah. Some of that candy might have razor blades and some of that razor blades might be poisoned. Now you can be all the candy's been poisoned. All that's poisoned razor blades.
And you just go through the candy and you look for the ones that says right on the wrapper, Monstruco brand poison bunches of razor blades, and you just throw that away.
Fair.
And also, if you're I don't know, some sort of inhuman monster who does this sort of thing, this really narrows down your shopping time.
It does. And now I realize that I unfortunately am that sort of monster based on my previous comments.
Sure. Sure.
Instead of saving my child, I just tried to poison them.
And these are also not just for Halloween. You can have these around the house all year round. It could come in handy if you need to, say, stop Jason Voorhees. I've been watching all of the Friday the 13th.
You have been.
Yes.
I wish you did it live so everyone could see, but you've been sharing this to me and Nate, and it's been the highlight of my month. Your reactions to Halloween, to the Friday the 13th movies.
It gets so good and then gets so bad. It has a real hump in the middle. It's like one is a legitimate good horror movie.
It's clever. It's original. There was nothing like it before, truly.
Yep. 2 is a worthy sequel. It's Jason. The end really ties everything together. 3, similar situation. He finally gets the mask, and the end really kind of ties everything together.
Can you imagine, though, a film, the first 2 films, to where Jason's just deciding hockey teams, and then on the third one he decides this is the mask for me. I'm a Gordie Howe fan.
Yeah, is he wearing a Sharks jersey? What is happening? Yeah. He gets the mask in a real kind of throwaway way. There's like a kid wears it to like scare someone, and Jason's just like, oh, sweet. And pops it on.
Lets the kid live. He's like, good idea, kid.
Yeah.
Bumps him.
I did hear, what was it? There's a podcast called The Flophouse where they talk about, it's a great podcast about bad movies, if you can imagine a podcast where people talk about bad movies. And they were talking about Jason Takes Manhattan. Absolute dog shit, by the way. And they were talking about how he doesn't get the mask for 3 movies. And they're like, that's like if in Star Wars, like Luke was just wearing like a t-shirt and shorts in the first one. And then in the second one, he's like, okay, I got a karate gi now. And then in the third one, he's like, finds a laser sword. And he's like, this is the look, right? Right? This is the look.
Yeah, it's a lot of playing with the character. I mean, we were there for it. We weren't there for it. This is before our time, but like society was there for it, and we were like, you know what, Jason, you come to age. This is the form we like of you. Yeah,
and he doesn't actually become like an an inhuman monster until like the 6th movie. Yeah, even because
I'm confused. I haven't seen the movies all the way through because I'm a coward when it comes to horror films. Kylie told me told me that I'm an adult last night when Paranormal Night Shift spooked me too hard.
I think you have a powerful survival instinct, and that's okay.
But I haven't seen the movie, so like I thought he was. I know on the first one it's the mom.
Yeah.
But I thought he was dead because the mom has his skull or something.
Well, and
right?
that's the thing is like supposedly he's drowned. He was like a kid with like a disability who the counselors weren't watching, and they were doing the nasty and smoking the grassy, and his mom comes back and is like, she was a cook at the camp, and she's like, the counselors deserve to die because of what they did to my little boy. And so she kills everybody. And then in the second one, it is Jason. And so my question is like, what happened when you drowned, Jason? Did you just like climb out of the lake and just not tell anyone?
Because he was mentally challenged, I think he just went about his stuff. But he built a house in the woods and like lived there for a while. I do believe there was lighting too. Like he learned electrical engineering.
Yes, and more. There's a toilet. There's definitely a toilet in there. He has fucking coveralls and boots. Like that was one of my main questions. Is like, where did he get these clothes? Did he crawl from his watery grave and like go to Kmart and was like, I'm a double XL. I need something for big and tall murder men.
Cheesebot says moonshiners could be an answer at this time.
Yeah, and also like maybe some kind of like
hung out with moonshiners.
Okay, yeah, and he just got all sauced, got all liquored up for a few years.
While his mom was killing, he was just liquored up with moonshiners.
We've all had our Jason years. Lost a few years to the moonshine, and then like in 4, like,
and he's still a dude at this point.
He's a dude.
Is what we're getting at. Okay.
Yes. In 4, he's finally killed by none other than Corey Feldman. In 5, Jason is seemingly back, where a grown-up Tommy Jarvis, who was the kid that Corey Feldman played, is having like severe psychological trauma from his situation of killing Jason when he was a little Feldemon. In 5, it's not even Jason. I'll spoil it for you. It's bullshit. There is a Jason, but it turns out it's like a fucking just a guy who like is a Jason fan. It sucks. 5 sucks. And then in 6, Jason comes back to life, and 6 goes fucking balls to the wall, zombie time action. 6 is like the prime cut of Jason campy fucking bullshit. 6 and 7, top Jason movies. Those are the top ones. In 7, there's a girl with psychic abilities who she's up against Jason now. It's a wild scene. And then shit drops.
And then he takes Manhattan similar to the similar to as the Muppets.
Yes, exactly. Cued by the Muppets. Perhaps Jason takes Manhattan, and it fucking sucks. He's on a boat for most of it. He's barely in Manhattan. Manhattan is a cartoonishly like fucking Ninja Turtles level version of New York. Like there's toxic waste everywhere, and like the rats and the fucking gangsters, and it's just ridiculous. And then Jason Goes to Hell is another one where there's barely any Jason in it. Real piece of shit. IMO. And I'm on Jason X now.
Nice. Is that the one where he goes to space?
That's the one where he goes to space. Nice. Exactly. And then we have Freddy versus Jason left to watch. And then the Friday the 13th reboot from 2009, which I haven't watched yet.
You guys do it right. You guys do it like how me and Kylie do the holidays, to where like we just watch the Christmas and now, thanks to Hallmark, Hanukkah movies.
Nice.
Everyone watch Holiday on Rye or Hanukkah on Rye. awful.
Everybody watch Hanukkah on Rye. Watch Friday the 13th Part 6, Hanukkah on Rye, and then Part 7. Kind of a Jason Hanukkah sandwich for you. But Jason is weirdly the bread.
What would I tell you if there's no rye in that movie?
I thought she was a baker or some shit. God damn it. Okay. Well, that was I had to rant about Jason because I've been thinking about it. I'll probably do Nightmare Before Elm Street next year. But I don't think I can do it this year because Halloween is nearly upon us. It is Halloween Eve. I've eaten a ton of candy.
Already? You still have 2 nights.
I know. I ate all of it. I got some good shit too. And I fucking scarfed it, man. Between me and my girlfriend.
The dentist is going to be a happy boy.
Dentist is going to be making millions. He's going to have bags of teeth upon which to lay his freaky little pervy head. I know what you're doing with them, dentists, teeth pervs. I would like to continue Witchtober, if I may. And I think Witchtober is going to go an extra week because I wasn't very happy with my segment on Japanese witches. Apologies to all Japanese.
I thought it was good.
It was fine, but I'm going to do a couple more because I didn't even get to talk about the Baba Yaga, and we got to talk about the Baba Yaga.
Got to talk about the Baba Yaga.
Next week will be Baba Yaga week, and this week I would like to talk about Brujas.
And truly, you're following the lunar calendar, which is important for this Witchtober.
Yes, exactly. Brujeria, as it is called. And I would like to start out my segment with an article from Llewellyn.com, who we have sourced in the past. This is 10 things you probably didn't know about Brujeria, because Brujeria and Brujas in general are quite often maligned, I will say. When you think of a Bruja, it's generally people having a bad time. She's generally, she or he, as I learned, a Brujo is generally depicted as the villain of the piece.
It's a very like Western style of it back in the day, to where the witch was evil or the wizard or whatever, yes. Very evil, maybe with the wart, I'm thinking, but you'll inform us. Yeah.
So this is actually an article written by a Llewellyn blogger by the name of Anna. And that's right. Jordan reads you a listicle, 10 things you probably didn't know about Brujeria. Brujeria? I don't know. Correct me if you will. Brujeria embraces gender equality. Bet you didn't know that, huh?
I did not, actually. Oh, I mean, you're teaching us because Brujo.
Male witches are called brujos. Female witches are called brujas. In the past, there were generally more brujos than brujas, but the recent surge of brujeria is an expression of feminine power, resulted in more brujas than brujos. Brujeria has an unbroken lineage tracing back to the prehistoric magical practices of the Mexica civilization that formed what we now call the Aztec or Maya.
Awesome. So we're talking centuries back, pre-Columbian even.
Old school shit. Did not come over with Columbo. What's his name? Christopher Columbo?
Yeah, Christopher Columbo.
Excuse me, ma'am. Are you using this country? Number 3, Brujeria did not, quote, come to America. It was always here in the practice of the people living in states that were once Mexico and became part of the United States through the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, 1848. Number 4, in addition to its Mexican and Spanish roots, that's kind of the thing, is Brujeria sort of absorbs other traditions as it grows. There is this kind of like native tradition, but as the Spaniards come in and Christianity and stuff like that, It absorbs these other elements, absorbed components of Judeo-Christianism, European witchcraft, Greek philosophy, hoodoo, Haitian voodoo, and Arabic healing practices. It does not follow Wiccan concepts of harming none or the threefold law, which maybe we'll talk about another time. But instead judges a magical work as, quote, justified or not justified.
That's what I'm talking about. Because we're all good and evil, but is your actions justified?
Number 5, people often confuse brujeria with curanderismo. Both are Mexican healing traditions that use magic. Curanderismo closely equates to the herb witch or naturopathic healer. A curandera, female, or a curandero, male, views a physical condition and wonders if there is a spiritually based cause, such as a crossing or a curse. The bruja or brujo views a spiritual condition and wonders if there is a physical or mental cause, such as toxicity or injury. Interesting. Brujeria views all magical work as a form of healing for the client. Number 6. Whereas curanderismo is a respected practice within Hispanic communities, brujeria is often feared and maligned due to the power the brujas, brujos hold and misinformation spread by the Catholic Church, which does not formally endorse brujeria. Much like witchcraft, much like Wicca, the church says they're against it.
It's because they're a bunch of fucking cowards. You know who's cool sometimes?
Go on.
I was going to say Catholics, but they definitely said no to the whole voodoo thing.
They definitely are not. Yeah.
Yeah. But no voodoo said yes to them. Voodoo's the cool one. That's what I'm thinking.
No to voodoo, yes to protecting pedophiles. Number 8, brujeria is a path of service to the community and to the clients who come to the bruja, brujo for care. It is not about magic for personal benefit. So
I should not do this.
Which will be a lot of this stuff will be. I mean, Anna clearly has a bit of an agenda. Her witch politics are shining through in this article, because I'm going to tell you some stories in a minute that contradict a lot of this. Number 9, brujeria judges a practitioner by ability and results rather than ethnicity, gender, or age. Most brujos or brujas are generally welcome those who are called to the path, provided they work with integrity and produce quality results. No half-assed witchery, please.
Do it with your whole witch, not your half witch.
Yeah. Number 10, little written information exists about brujeria, especially in English, because it is an orally conveyed practice learned experientially through apprenticeship rather than academically through text. As such, brujeria presents differently for individual practitioners because each apprentice is learning a non-standardized practice from their own mentor. Interesting. So each practitioner of brujeria has their own kind of flavor, you know? Like one of them might be like, oh, when I cast a spell, it's snakes. Gotcha. Another one is like, when I cast a spell, it's ice. And when I cast a spell, it's flowers.
I like that. It makes it more personal, you know?
It's pretty cool.
Kind of like Encanto.
Yeah,
a lot of this is like Encanto.
A lot of Encanto vibes. What would your flavor be?
Oh, cheese.
Cheese. I'm thinking
spicy cheddar.
I'm thinking some kind of aqua magic. I like the idea. I like the sea, you know?
Nice.
But then you'd be like wet all the time.
Yeah, I think air maybe for me, you know? Fun little gust of wind or cheese.
Cheese is an earth element for sure. Okay. Now I found an article from a website called spookytales.com.
Ooh, friend of the show, if you will. Mm-hmm. They've commented on our Twitter posts.
Is that true? At Spooky Tales?
Once.
Oh, far out. Shout out to Spooky Tales. This is a podcast. Go listen to a Spooky Tales after this, everybody. They wrote an article involving stories of tales of witches in Mexico. Scary stories involving witches are endless in Mexico, they say. There's even a common saying, Las brujas vienen de Zacatecas, which translates to You guessed it. Witches come from Zacatecas.
Oh.
Here's a story from Hidalgo, Mexico. It is said that in certain regions of the Mexican state of Hidalgo, it is prohibited to even say the word bruja on Fridays.
Oh, looks like someone's taking a trip to Mexico to put this law to test.
Just keep getting tickets like in fucking Demolition Man.
Come back. Jordan, I need the werewolf radar fortune. They were very serious about this law.
Deeply in debt for my saying bruja crimes. People will still put salt on their rooftops, as well as place scissors in the shape of a cross below their beds. Little paranormal preparedness advice for you.
Oh, that is clever.
Salt on the roof, keep a witch off of your roof. Scissors in the shape of a cross, keep them from under your bed. I don't know.
Yeah, because the bed, I believe, still to this day is a goddamn portal to the other realm.
Sure. It's a dark area that is largely forgotten. In the town of Huichapan, Hidalgo, many still tell stories and legends of shape-shifting brujas and of seeing fireballs on the faraway hills. Interesting. That'll come up again. That actually is echoes of another paranormal creature that we've spoken about before. Newborns are especially protected here, as the brujas that shift into guajolotes, turkeys. Yeah, the brujas will turn into turkeys.
Okay.
Spend the nighttime looking for newborns to suck blood from. This might be a little
turkey
bit of that.
form.
Yeah. This might be a little bit of that Catholic propaganda, you know.
Okay, yeah, fair. This sounds like it's definitely convoluted and extra, if you will.
Yeah, I could see like some kind of priest being like, don't go trick-or-treating. You know what they do? They turn into turkeys and suck blood from a baby.
You're a baby.
You're a baby. You're God's baby. It is an old belief that witches' tongues turn into spider webs, and at night the web reaches into a newborn baby's crib to suck their blood out. Many would use iron scissors to cut spider webs before putting their baby down for the night, and then in the morning these cut up webs would be said to have shifted back into human tongues.
Oh, what a morning that would be.
Yeah. Women that were single spent a lot of time alone and had jobs like midwife, healer, or curandera, which we just learned about.
Yes.
They were women who lived that kind of life were pretty much always suspected of being a bruja. Brujas are said to remove their legs in order to transform into the guajolote turkey, which has almost shades of manananggal, where it's like, you know, they take off part of their body to turn into a blood-sucking creature at night. They have the ability to become the flying fireball that was seen on the hillside, which once again echoes of the Caribbean sukoya, which is a kind of a blood-sucking night hag that travels around in the form of a screaming fireball, which is the only way to travel. Quite honestly.
Only way to travel. Werewolf radar approved.
Same, much like the Manananggal, if the bruja returns to her house and cannot find her legs, her death is inevitable. No legs by the time the sun comes up, you're toast.
Okay. I mean, I can't knock it, but that seems like quite the weird evolutionary trait for you to go through.
Seems like a weakness.
It seems like a pretty big weakness.
Pretty big flaw in the armor there. Okay, this is from Aculco, Mexico. Aculco is a municipality of the Atlacomulco region of the state of Mexico. Aculco is said to be a very cold place, as well as a place full of legends. One of these legends is called La Bruja.
La Bruja.
Many years ago, there was a beautiful young woman with long black hair and golden skin. All the young men loved her, but the elders all warned them to stay away from her, for her family practiced black magic and she was a bruja. Despite her beauty, no one was willing to marry her and grant her her biggest wish, to be a mother. The years went by, and she was still alone. Eventually, she was too old for her dream, and she grew resentful. She became full of hate and set on vengeance, and was said to have made a deal with the devil. So she wasn't even a bruja until people ignored her and ostracized her, and she was like, fine, I've got the devil's number. I'm going to call him. I'm going to do this thing.
Is it weird that I find her more attractive now?
She definitely seems very attractive.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. I certainly would have been a suitor in those days. Maybe especially if they were like, oh, her family's a witch. I would have been like, really?
Really? See, for me, I needed to know she contacted the devil. Like at this moment, I'm into it.
See, that's a turnoff for me. She's already involved with this other dude. It's I don't want to get into that whole mix.
No, I'm into being the bull in a cuck relationship. If that cuck is the devil.
Is the devil and his little Jimmy Jams wringing his tail pensively.
Anyway, X-rated episode of this episode.
Soon after this, a child was missing in Aculco, then another, and then a third. The townspeople immediately suspected the Bruja, and they all marched to her house, pitchforks in hand. They were ready to burn her alive and decided to knock her door down. But at that moment, extreme coldness and fog surrounded them. She's got coldness and fog flavor.
In the coldest part of Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Then a loud voice boomed from the giant tree next to her house. The voice said terrible things and then told them she was the only one they called Bruja, and she took the children as revenge. A man in the crowd rushed the tree with an axe, but then the cries of the children were heard. The Bruja began laughing, then told them the soul of the children were trapped in the tree also.
This is some real witch shit, like Baldur's Gate 3 witch shit.
Yeah, for real. The mother of the children begged the man not to tear the tree down. To this day, the tree remains, and they say that if you stab the tree with a knife, that tree will bleed, and the crying of children can be heard, along with the laughter of the Bruja.
I mean, we have to do it, right?
I will not stab the tree. Not it.
Stab the tree with me, Jordan.
No.
It won't work if all three of our hands don't touch it.
Okay, this is a Bruja story from Reddit. This is a story from Reddit. It was submitted by user Fluffy Sam. Fluffy G Sam. As a comment, Fluffy G Sam was raised by their grandmother, and she would tell them all sorts of stories. But one particular day, they wouldn't go to sleep, and so she told them a scary story that she would retell all the time. It goes like this. The story goes that my great-great-grandmother, this is in the voice of Fluffy G Sam, the story goes that my great-great-grandmother had been a stubborn Protestant when she married my great-great-grandfather, and although she did convert to Catholicism, she held on to the belief that baptism should be a choice. They had a son and their first child and were wildly happy for a time, but still my great-great-grandmother would not relent, and the child went unbaptized. The first year of the child's life passed, and he's begun to walk. My grandparents were so proud. One night, they put him to bed, and they themselves turned in for a head start on what would be yet another sleep-deprived night, such as life with an infant. For whatever reason, they fell into a deep, restful sleep. But apparently, my great-great-grandmother, felt something was wrong in her sleep and sat bolt upright. We've all been there. Something's up. Wham.
I have. Yep.
My grandma tells me that the first instinct her mother had was to check on the child, and that is what she did. The baby room was adjacent to theirs. We were a rich family once, so a multiple bedroom home was a status symbol in the town, and tried the door and found it to be locked from the inside. I see. By that time, my great-great-grandmother had awoken, and almost immediately they heard the most inhuman cackle from the other side of the door. After some struggling, they managed to get the door open, and the child was gone. She told my great-grandmother that en este moment sentí como mi mundo entero se había acabado. Roughly translated, she said she felt like her world had ended.
Oh my. All right. Well, first of all, when you said unhuman cackle, in my jokester mind, I thought of an elephant cackling.
Okay, well.
Which is just a weird sound.
That would be goofier and funner than what seems to have actually happened.
Yeah, I think they meant like a very evil human-like
We
cackle.
all know it. We know that witch cackle.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All that was left of my would-be great-great-granduncle was an empty crib and the pain in the hearts of his parents. Fast forward around 100 years, I'm born. The firstborn son of my generation, the eldest of all the grandchildren like the child would have been. My grandmother forces my baptism as early as possible. The house we had been, that makes it sound like he was struggling.
Yeah.
No. The house we'd been living in at the time was adjacent to a notorious home in our city that was reportedly a hive for occult activity. We were poor, so a house in the slums was all we could afford. One night, just after my first birthday, my mother awakes, much the same way her ancestor did a century earlier, to find a locked door to my room. The door again opens after some struggling, but I'm unharmed. The window is open, which had been closed, and a, quote, feeling of evil perverated the room. I don't think perverated is the correct word, but
I get the sense of what you meant. It was penetrating, or like it was something else in the room. It's in the room, permeating.
Yes. And that does it for this week's installment of Witchtober. Those are some Bruja stories and a little bit of insight into, let's say, responsible brujeria.
I enjoyed that. That opened my eyes to the craft, to segments of this community I didn't even know happened, and I am filled with goosebumps on that last story. Yeah,
there's a lot of scary stuff in there. A lot of the stories, other stories that I've read have them turning into various birds. Owls are associated with a lot of South and Central American witchery and stuff like that. And we've actually talked about the Owl Lady a couple of times before. But yeah, that's that segment for Witchtober. And I now hand the speaking skull over to Roger.
Thank you. I will now continue my segment, which will end in the end of October because I follow the Gregorian calendar. And I have for my last segment on ghost stories to spook you good for Halloween, I have from Reader's Digest 12 ghost stories that will send shivers down your spine. Let's go into them. I'm spooked by everything. So these I thought were generally frightening for me. We might have told some of these in the past, but this is a recently curated list. There's so many things that happen.
I rewatch ghost stories all the time
that are also just similar ghosts.
Yeah.
So this one comes from, most of these come from Reddit. It's just curated by Reader's Digest.
Mm-hmm.
And we have from one user who goes by the name of patented space hook.
Okay. Oh, that's Fry's special basketball shot, right?
No, it is.
Space hook.
Yes, it's his brother's, maybe?
Well, his brother steals it from him.
His brother does steal it from him.
Fucking Yancey.
So, I never lived in a haunted house, but my mother did as a teen. Other houses on her street had strange things going on, too. A few homes away from her lived a family. One night, the daughter went to bed with a bad headache. The next day, she was dead. Passed away from an aneurysm. That is scary.
Oh, no.
I mean, aneurysms are the most frightening things. They can just happen.
I just always feel bad when I make a joke and it's like, and the person died tragically.
Suddenly. Tragically is all death. This is sudden.
Mm-hmm.
As a father,
not all death. Some of them are, after watching a bunch of Friday the 13th, when Jason dies, it's a cause for celebration.
It is a cause of celebration. That's fair. After her funeral, the family went away to get their minds off the tragedy, and the father asked my uncle, my mom's brother, to check on their pets. My mom and dad, who were dating at the time, went with them, and my mother had heard that there was a grand piano, and she wanted to play it.
Okay.
My dad was studying to be a veterinarian.
Okay.
I hope that comes up in the story.
Sure.
Entering the house, my uncle and father headed to the basement to see the animals, and my mother went to the piano on the ground floor, and she was playing it when she felt something brush up against her ankles.
Oh, boy.
She thought a cat must have left the basement and walked past her. She kept playing, and then she felt it again. She looked under the piano and saw nothing. When she started to play it again, she felt hands clasp her legs tightly.
No, thanks.
She dashed to the basement and called my uncle and father and waited for them. Back outside, my uncle could tell my mom was rattled, asking her what was wrong. She told him what had happened, and he turned white. He told her the daughter who had died had used to play a game with her father where he played the piano, and she crawled underneath and grabbed his ankles.
Yes, we have heard this one before. I remember this.
It spooks me every time.
It's very scary. Scary time.
My father, who was a veterinarian, said that couldn't have been an animal. I'm studying to be a veterinarian. They don't do this.
The first thing they teach you in vet school is that cats don't have hands.
Here is a fun EMT one. I love EMT ghosts because I don't know why I love them so much. It's just like sudden ghost, or like a ghost that just got lost in there. Like they're trying to save people, doing the best they can, and they get haunted, you know?
Yeah, it's a bummer.
So this comes from Zerbo on Reddit. The ambulance company that I used to work for had a haunted ambulance. A lot of EMTs had stories about it, but I never put much stock into paranormal stuff. Maybe it's not so much that they're like trapped or whatever as they just want to keep helping after the fact. Oh, we'll see what happens when I go on about this ghost.
Okay. All right.
But that's a very solid thing, you know, like you have, of course, like a dead EMT who still wants to do his job, or like a ghost who like knows they're dead and wants to help people avoid the fate they went through.
Yeah. Don't end up like me.
Don't end up like me. Let them shoot you full of adrenaline.
You'll love it.
The ambulance company I used to work for had a haunted ambulance. A lot of the EMTs had experiences with it, but I'd never put much stock into the paranormal. That is, until I had my own experience with Rig 12.
Okay.
My partner and I were working in a rural community around 3 a.m. That's rural community. I know how words are pronounced.
Sure. And
it was pitch dark and completely quiet. We were both dozing, and I was in the driver's seat and she was in the passenger seat. I woke up to a muffled voice, but I thought my partner was talking. I told her I was trying to sleep and closed my eyes. I distinctly heard the male voice say, "Oh my God, am I dying?"
Oh, yikes.
Followed by seconds of heavy breathing.
Yikes.
My partner sat up and looked back into the patient compartment where it sounded like the voice had come from. Things were quiet for a few seconds. Then we heard the click of the oxygen bottle regulator and a hiss as if it was leaking. I turned on the lights and we ran out of the rig.
Wow,
I
crazy.
thought a transient might have climbed in there and was doing some O2.
Nice.
And we opened the rear doors. No one was there, and I checked the oxygen bottles, and nothing was open.
Wow, that really freaked me out.
That one's a freaky one.
That just sounds like something like I can, not to jinx it, but I can see myself like if I were dying, that sounds like something I would say like, "Oh my God, am I dying right now? You need to tell me if I'm dying right now."
Oh, no, for sure. I think that realization in the moment hits everyone for the most part that hard to where like, wait, am I dying?
Yeah. Is this how it happens?
Because we think so many things. I don't think about it too much because it scares me.
Yeah.
But for sure, that's going to be me to where like, oh no, this feeling that is so different. Is this death?
Yeah.
Then I'll cry.
Yeah. I'll yell.
You'll yell, I'll cry. Nate, let's find out what Nate will do at the end of the episode when he dies.
Find out what
AI Nate, of course.
Yeah.
My neighbor, this is from Reddit user Abby's Alibi. My neighbor Diane and I had a playful poltergeist for years that we called Billy. Off to a horrible start right now.
Oh, Billy.
I'd come home and find something put in a weird place, milk in the cupboard, toilet paper in the fridge. Okay, this is kind of silly. Toilet paper in the fridge, laundry detergent in the bathtub.
Funny.
Diane once called.
That last one's not super funny, Billy, but I get what you're doing.
I get the premise. It just was a miss.
Yeah.
Diane once called to ask if Billy had been around because she couldn't find a gallon of milk. We found it outside on her back steps. And sugar, darn sugar, every morning the morning bowl was empty.
Hilarious.
When I had enough, I would point to Diane's home and yell, "Go see Diane." Within 5 minutes, I'd get a call from her and she'd say, "Thanks a lot."
Hilarious. And also scary.
He'd gone and pulled shenanigans at her place. This occurred for the entire 2 years we lived there. No one believed us, not even our husbands. My mother thought someone was stealing from us when we were sleeping or out of the house. My sister believed something was going on, but didn't know it. I still can't explain any of this.
Yeah, that's weird. Especially the, go bother her, and then it happens.
It was a fun little one before the horror I'm about to hit you with.
Oh, God.
So one night when I was 10, I woke up by my bedroom door opening, followed by someone sitting on my bed.
Yeah.
K. Mendo 4 recalls of a childhood brush with a very persistent ghostly apparition.
Mm-hmm.
I felt my leg grazed and the bed sink under a person's weight. It's just Mom, I thought, and I opened my eyes. It was not Mom.
Of course it's not.
I found an eyeless boy.
What?
He had black empty sockets, was about my age, sitting at the foot of my bed. He extended his hand and in it was a little box. As I was startled, but I reached out. He pulled back, reached again, and said, "Give it."
What?
Then I blinked, and when I reopened my eyes, he was gone. But I could still see the imprint of where he sat on my bed.
Bonkers.
Fast forward 5 years, and my girlfriend comes over to do some homework in parentheses.
Hey, all right.
After I added the parentheses, I'm rooting for you, though.
Oh, I was hoping we were going to get some gruesome details here.
Yes.
My girlfriend comes over to do some hand jobs. She pulls my pants off and gets it out. And then pow, boobs.
Boobs. But these boobs have black sockets.
Eyeless boobs.
After she finished, she took a nap while she waited for her parents. When they arrived, I tried waking her up. She opened her eyes suddenly, looking up at a corner where the wall met the ceiling. She pointed there and went back to sleep. I shook her again. She came to full consciousness, and I explained what she had done. She looked haunted. Up on the wall, I saw a little boy with no eyes. He was there in a Spider-Man pose, staring at me.
What's with the eyes going? Why is that the first thing to go?
She didn't know about the story. After this, I told her about my story as a child.
Yikes.
Jump in the time machine with me, Jordan. We're going forward another 5 years. I was with the same girlfriend, and we had a 2-year-old. Congratulations. We were living in my parents' house. In my old room, my daughter started waking up at the same time every night, and she'd talk. After a while, I noticed she had almost the same conversation every night. I playfully asked her once whom she was talking to, and she said, "It's a little boy. He's nice. He's lost and looking for his mummy."
His mummy, huh?
My daughter's nightly conversations continued until we got our own place a year later. So I hope that was a fun one, because I don't want to think about that ever again.
Yeah,
that
it was
spooked
fun.
me a lot.
It had a mummy in it.
It had a mummy. Everything with a mummy's great, including the mummy.
I actually watched a movie the other day called, I think it was called The Pyramid. It wasn't that fun.
Was there a mummy in there, though?
That's actually not true. It was weirdly, there was like a weirdly good script going on, but it was just a real piece of shit.
That's because I direct movies, and I appreciate your somewhat, very brutally honest comments.
Sure.
And I will take that into account. And next time I will make the motorcycle talk.
Okay. You know what the people like.
Oh, what the people like. I will end on two more.
Anytime a motorcycle shows up in a movie and it doesn't talk, I'm like, this is bullshit. Whatever happened to filmmaking, you know?
What did happen? Anyway, that's next week's episode.
Yeah.
Of a deep dive on what happened.
Oh, I thought you meant talking motorcycles. The legend of the talking motorcycle.
So this story might strike you more as an awe than an eek, Jordan, but I think it's a good thing to switch up on. I like the contrast between weirdly fun ghost and then children looking for their mommy as they haunt my visions. This is from Robinette, directly to Reader's Digest.
Okay. Marlene
settled on her side of the bed. These are dogs as well. Sorry.
Important piece of information.
Yeah, I skipped a paragraph there. My bad.
No worries.
This is Kristen Robinette, who used her ghost whispering skills to help detectives solve various cases. You might have seen her in various things. I don't know what I feel about that overall, because statistically they are wrong and uphold and kind of hold up many investigations and cause various survivors of crimes to go through unnecessary hardships. And then sometimes they fucking get it.
But statistically full of shit. Boy, that could be the name of our podcast, huh?
Actually, we're generally not full of shit.
Yeah, so suck it. Us,
our heads, the voices inside of our heads.
Yeah.
So Marlene settled on her side of the bed and patted Jack's pillow besides her. A year had gone by, but Marlene was still adjusting to widowhood. This is a story of people she helped. Marlene, or maybe I forgot where I was. Sorry, there was an ad that just shot across the Reader's Digest website. Capitalism on the internet is fun.
It's fucking wild. It was a wild scene.
So a year had gone by.
20 pounds of crab meat.
That was a fun ad to scroll across, though. Only $60.
Yeah.
But Marlene was still adjusting to widowhood. Can't be easy. Much respect. Maybe it was crazy to think that after 40 years of marriage, she could ever adjust.
Yeah.
Elmer, the golden retriever, seemed to understand this from the very first moments. That's because golden retrievers are the best dogs. There's many best dogs, though. That cold, moonless night when Marlene returned alone from the hospital, Elmer did something he'd never done before. He
cooked her dinner. Brought her some flowers. Made her feel loved.
He jumped onto Jack's side of the bed and lay his head on the pillow.
Oh.
Jack never would have allowed it, but Marlene didn't shoo him off. Instead, she laid down beside Elmer and let the peaceful sound of his snoring lull her to sleep.
Oh.
Right? That's exactly what it says first. This is more of an awe.
Oh.
Oh, it's very warming. Where we now, the snoring, which would not lull me to sleep, but everyone is different. The next night was the same. The night after that, over a year, this had become a routine, but not tonight. Tonight was the first time Elmer had left Marlene alone in bed since Jack's passing.
Oh.
But hearing nails clicking on the floor downstairs, Marley recognized the sound of Elmer requesting outsies. With a sigh, Marlene made her way down the stairs to the foyer. But Elmer wasn't pacing in front of the big oak door. Rather, he was dancing and wagging and wiggling and bowing, just like he used to when Jack would come home from work.
Okay. I thought like dancing. I've envisioned something horrifying.
I mean, based on what I just described, I got goosebumps because of what it did describe there.
Yeah.
To Marlene, it felt as if Jack had just come home, and Robinette, who is known for her intuition about these things, believes that, yes, indeed, that is what happened. It sounds like it. That was heartwarming. That's exactly what I thought too. Elmer's playing with Jack.
Yeah.
It's like Jack's home. He found his way home. Look at him. He's here.
My heart is warmed.
Well, get ready to dash that.
Oh, no. Because it's not true.
Where am I? I'm just trying to find the one. There we go. So this is from the Michigan Daily.
Oh.
Via Reader's Digest.
Okay.
Huntingdon College is just one of the many haunted colleges in America. Which we should do a feature on that sometime.
Haunted colleges in America. That episode writes itself.
There is
welcome to Scream 101.
In Colorado, our collective friends, Fidesz and Kevin O'Brien, Fidesz Giddings, or whatever her new name is, what with marriage and whatnot. Anyway, went to what's the religious college?
Jesus State?
No. I'm still. It's also a medical school college.
Saint somethings.
Anyway, their school that they went to in Colorado, I've driven it past it many times. I don't know why I'm coming to a blank. Has a nurse nun ghost who stares at you if you walk the campuses at night.
Oh boy, you don't want that.
So, colleges be fun, man. You learn things, you get spooked by other things, and then ghosts.
Yeah.
So this is from Michigan, Ann Arbor. The haunting happened in 1972 at a party hosted by University of Michigan students living on Ashley Street. A 15-year-old girl who had no business being there in the first place, the article says.
Get out of there.
Felt a strange bone-chilling cold.
Ugh.
In an attempt to warm up, she went upstairs because heat rises, we guess.
Okay, fair.
That's when things really went awry. One of the walls of the house started moving.
Oh, no.
And a black shadow approached the girl.
No, please.
This is all at a party.
No.
Meanwhile, downstairs, posters were spontaneously popping off the walls and falling into a growing pile on the floor.
Don't care for it. A pile? What's he going to do with a pile?
A pile of posters.
I hate it.
The girl wandered back downstairs where she found herself saying these strange words. The drugs and addiction were my fault, and I accept responsibility for that. But I was not that way deep down inside. I want to apologize to everyone involved for what I have done. What made those words even stranger was that the girl did know drugs.
She's a narc.
She's a narc. Her words didn't seem all that strange to the students who lived in the house, though. Before they moved in, the house had been inhabited by a man with a very serious addiction.
Oh.
The reason he no longer lived there? He died of a heroin overdose in the building.
That'll do it.
And that's, I think, going to wrap up the month. I can maybe tell one more. It's a short one. Let me do one more.
Hit us with it.
All right.
We won't see him until Halloween.
We won't see him until Halloween. Okay, so we're going an extra one to wrap up Spooktober. Ghost stories ghosts chocked full of ghost stories. Come on, AI Nate, we need a title. All right, so here we go.
Here we go.
One on October 13th, 1877, Robert Schmale was hanged after a trial that found him guilty of terrifying and an inexplicable murder spree. The townspeople were filled with so much anger and hatred that they left his body hanging up there for days, throwing rocks and various rotten fruit at it, I could only assume. The town says that not one person demonstrated even a shred of remorse, let alone forgiveness for the hanging. Since then, Schmale has haunted the town to this day. I was trying to find where the town is, but it's just a particular ghost story. Check it out in your ghost town by you. Those who have seen him says he appears as a ghostly male figure, but as soon as the figure registers in your mind, it disappears somewhat maddeningly into the darkness, as ghosts like to do.
They love that move.
It is. I'm trying to go through their sources now, and it seems Reader's Digest made that up.
Really?
It is the only story that Reader's Digest did not source.
Unbelievable, Reader's Digest. We're fucking onto you, you creep asses.
You guys did us dirty like that. Anyway, I got goosebumps there. I definitely failed any type of
good ones there.
Of bravery challenge, if you will.
Same.
And I passed the skull not to you, Jordan, but to AI Nate, who will hopefully use AI abilities that everyone talks so highly of to put it back into the box.
Quick Nate, quick AI Nate. Use your abilities.
Your AI abilities.
He's taken the speaking skull and he's put it back into the internet where it will remain trapped until the next episode. Listeners, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Werewolf Radar. We hope you have a happy Halloween. And remember, life's no fun without a good scare. Try to get a little scared this Halloween, but not too scared. And then bring it back and then eat a bunch of candy. You know, eating a bunch of candy can be scary. You can eat too much of it and your blood sugar spikes and you're like,
Or you can eat too much gummies, get hurt tummy too long syndrome.
Yeah. Develop an ulcer, listeners.
Nothing scarier to an adult as a series of ulcers.
You know what would be really scary is if you went and checked out our Twitch channel, our Patreon, and our Instagram and our threads.
Oh, yeah.
And just friggin' everything. Everything except for X. X is dead.
X is dead, truly. We're still there having fun, but we're truly trying to move over to Threads or Blue Sky, or
that it would kind of still be Twitter after its shitty fucking electro goth makeover. But no, it sucks butt over there.
Truly, overall, the best way to reach out to us or to interact with us is our Patreon and our website, werewolfradar.com. Patreon, you don't have to be a paid member to contact us or to follow us. You can get everything we release over there as well, although some of it is locked behind the paywall. But
everything we release, the content, the bats, the virus into the water supply.
But I mean, werewolfradar.com's got everything plus links to everything. YouTube's a great place to follow us because then you can see our faces. You can see our faces and tubes on the YouTube. You can leave comments behind. You can fight in the comments. Let's
fight
everyone
in the comments.
Let's have a fight about what's the best crab in the comments this week.
Fight in the comments. You all know it's Dungeness.
Dungeness, you're a drunk. It's king. That's why there's the king
called
crab.
a Dungeness crab. That's the coolest name. Oh, save it for the comments.
All right. Cheesebot's gonna get on it.
You can also join us on the Discord. The Discord is pretty fun.
Discord.
You can get updates on paranormal doings in real time.
We're sharing all sorts of fun little stuff over there too. Movie talk, gaming talk.
I shared a picture, a pretty interesting picture of what may be a Civil War ghost the other day. Somebody took a picture and it looks like part of a guy in like a long kind of dirty coat. It's very interesting. But I think that does it for another episode of Werewolf Radar. Until next time, as always, thank you for your support and join us in our sign-off line on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Punch the sky, Spaceman Joe.
And thank you to our Patreon members, Nick Bailey, Michael King, Spooky Appalachia, Phil Corridor, Janet Bravo, Dylan Gutierrez, Bob Ryan, AWOL51, Amanda, Tobias Livingston, The Most Well-Prepared Dead Guy, Marcelo Duran, Elliot Broder, Alicia Coy, Cheesebot O'Doom, Abby Claboo, Ryan Flint, Jake Specht, Akarian Soldier, Dean Malik, Dakota Vincent, Brian Ely, Adric Hinkle, Egon Infilix, and Spectacular Copper.